This is A Word, a podcast from Slate. I'm your host, Jason Johnson. Criminal gangs have the nation of Haiti in their grip, crushing efforts to build a stable government and a path to the future. While the American government turns away desperate refugees, American guns are fueling the violence and unrest.
We cannot save Haiti from this level of violence if there isn't aggressive work that's taken on in the U.S. and kind of ownership over the fact that we are literally arming death dealers to the teeth.
The latest on efforts to bring Haiti back from the brink, coming up on A Word with me, Jason Johnson. Stay with us.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
Welcome to A Word, a podcast about race and politics and everything else. I'm your host, Jason Johnson. The nation of Haiti has lurched from one crisis to another for decades. Currently, after a series of assassinations and collapsed regimes, the country has fallen under the control of criminal gangs. There's only a symbolic structure of government beyond that. Many roadways are crowded with debris from street battles, and everyday life is shadowed by the threat of rape, kidnapping, and murder. Thousands of Haitians have tried to escape the chaos, fleeing to the neighboring Dominican Republic and beyond. Those who make it to the United States face the prospect of apprehension and expedited repatriation. This is an election year, and there's little political support or interest in direct American action in Haiti, despite the outsized U.S. influence over events there. They are our neighbors. Now, even those who have long resisted the idea of international intervention believe that such a force could be the last best chance for peace and stability in Haiti. Among them is Patrick Gaspard. He's a former ambassador to South Africa and the current president and chief executive officer of the Center for American Progress. Ambassador Gaspard, welcome back to A Word.
Jason, thanks for having me. It is always great to be in dialogue with you.
For the folks who really haven't been following the news, let's just do a general catch-up. What has led to the current crisis in Haiti over the last several months, and how has that affected just regular citizens living in Haiti?
Well, Jason, first let me express some gratitude for the fact that you keep lifting up Haiti and including it in the conversation about consequential global crisis and opportunities to build resilient democracies around the world. Your listeners will remember, Jason, that the previous president of Haiti was assassinated over 2 years ago. That was Jovenel Moïse, taken out by paramilitary, by gang leadership, and we think by political actors as well. Right before he was killed, he named a new prime minister for the country, a man named Ariel Henry. That gentleman was never, ever sworn in or ratified into his leadership. After the assassination, he steps into the prime ministership and acts as the de facto president as well, unelected, no constitutional mandate, no electoral mandate. The United States, the French, Canadians, the leaders of the Caribbean nations known as CARICOM all started to engage in broad stakeholder conversations about what transitional governance could look like. But it was clear that there was resistance from Prime Minister Henry to engaging with civil society, with other political parties, with a very large group called the Montana Accord that came together across sectors to put out a framework for what democratic governance could look like in the country. After significant stalling, the gang crisis in Haiti spiraled out of control beyond the ability of the decapacitated Haitian police to contend with. Prime Minister Henry put out a call through the United Nations and to the U.S. for some kind of international peacekeeping force that could come and intervene in Haiti. The UN General Assembly ratified such a peacekeeping force. The United States and other nations pledged to give resources for it. Ariel Henry went to Kenya to sign an accord with the Kenyans, and during that moment, gangs overran the capital, overran the airport, made it clear that the prime minister could not return. And in that moment, a number, including myself, went to Kingston, Jamaica as part of official delegations to negotiate with parties in Haiti and to stand up some form of transitional government that could eventually lead to elections in the country and the ability to reinstitute the parliament of Haiti, the judiciary of Haiti, and to move forward with significant challenges around the economy, healthcare, and most especially and acutely security in the country.
What is the status of the Haitian government now? Who's actually running the country? Because if the prime minister can't come home, who's actually maintaining the government day to day? Or is no one doing that at this point?
Yes, the prime minister has actually officially stepped down as prime minister. He is no longer in official governance in Haiti. There is a transitional presidential council made up of 7 entities plus 2 observers that have the immediate responsibility to select amongst themselves a president of that council or chair of the council, and then an interim prime minister for the country. And then that interim prime minister has to stand up some kind of a technocratic cabinet to work on all the issues that I delineated before. So in Kingston, Jamaica, through the auspices of the Caribbean heads of state, a transitional presidential council was self-selected amongst disparate political actors and civil society actors in the country. And has begun to deliberate on the next steps. As you can well imagine, Jason, in an environment this fraught, environment this polarized and this militarized, there have been already clear disagreements amongst the council members about how to proceed with their main mandate. There are many questions that are coming from both Haitians in Haiti and Haitians in the diaspora, which I'm proud to be a member of, about what the length of governance will be for this council, how they will manage a kind of rotating leadership structure to make it as democratic and as inclusive as possible for a body that is unelected, and whether or not there are aspects of constitutional reform that can be taken up in this interim period that can shore up the scaffolding of institutions in Haiti that really have not recovered from the 2010 earthquake and the human shocks that have followed since then.
One of the things that we found sort of in prepping for the show is that somebody who can be said to be in charge on the ground is this current gang leader who's a former police officer who goes by the nickname Barbecue. Can you tell us a little bit about this man, how he came to power, and how he holds power throughout the streets of Haiti right now?
Yeah, so this is a subject that infuriates me. I will tell you, Jason, that much of the coverage around this individual, in a way, romanticizes and valorizes his ascent, and he's been given legitimacy in too many quarters. Let's put it as simply as we possibly can here, Jason. Some years ago, Haiti started devolving into a mafia state. What do I mean by that? There are factions that we call gangs that are all tied to and associated with some political actors or some oligarchic business actors in Haiti. Every single one of the most prominent gangs in the country are just a kind of Trojan horse for a set of politics or a set of moneyed interests that are acting against the popular will of the people in this country. This Barbecue character is simply a criminal. He's come into power because he had more guns and more gang members than others did. He has the sophistication to take up a set of strategies and tactics to get command and control infrastructure in the nation's capital. But he does that through absolute violent means, not through political means at all. And at some point, this individual, when there is a sufficient multilateral force, when the Haitian police is at capacity again, this person needs to be dealt with as the criminal that he is and not as a political actor. So if you hear some emotion from me in this, if you hear some dismissiveness from me in this, you would be like right in sensing both, because it troubles me deeply that a rank criminal murderer, someone whose forces have used rape as a tool and an instrument of terror in the country, is kind of held up as some kind of a credible force, either for change or a credible voice for the people. He is neither of those things. He is a butcher connected to troubling and toxic political forces.
Who's backing this individual? Who's making sure? Because you sort of laid out that all of these gang leaders are just proxies, either for big businesses or they're proxies for people who want to grab power by other means. Who's behind him? Because that may also explain why maybe the press gives him this sort of Robin Hood image, why internationally he's being viewed as someone of potential character or a change maker. Who's behind him?
I would say this, Jason. The United States, Canada, France, and other partner nations have leveled aggressive sanctions against political actors and some business actors in Haiti. Some of them are tied directly to previous prime minister in Haiti, Laurent Lamothe. Some of them have been tied directly to former President Michel Martelly in Haiti. There are folk who are in old family businesses in Haiti whose children are educated in the U.S. or France, who have homes in those countries. And the sanctions against those individuals actually created a space to help us arrive at this point of transition. I'm being very careful and not just kind of throwing out wild accusations, but I think that if you just follow the list of sanctions, you will understand exactly who is creating this instability in the nation at this moment and standing up these gang leaders.
A lot of Americans like to pretend that we don't have any responsibility for the crisis in Haiti, but you suggested that U.S. guns are really integral to the violence down there. And I want to put this in context, because I think this is important. There's a similar problem that we have in the United States as far as, say, gang violence in Mexico. The entire country of Mexico only has 4 gun shops. So all the gun problems that they have there are primarily because of stolen guns or smuggled guns from the United States. It's a similar situation in Haiti. Tell us a little bit more about how the guns are getting into Haiti and the failure on the part of the United States to do anything about it.
So between 2020 and 2022, thousands of weapons were seized in Haiti and traced. 80% of the weapons that were seized and traced in Haiti in that 2-year period were either directly manufactured in the U.S. or were traced back to gun ownership in the U.S. 80%. And that holds not just for those 2 years, it holds for this moment now, holds for the period before then. There's not a single gun, there's not a single bullet that is manufactured in Haiti or anywhere in the region. About 2 months ago, Jason had conversations with a civil society human rights leader in Haiti who works very, very, very closely with non-corrupted police actors in Haiti who maintain their anonymity because too many of their own leadership has been corrupted by the gangs. And they detailed to me the actions of several arms dealers who are in the country who have shipments that come directly from ports in Miami to ports that they have seized in Haiti. They described armored vehicles arriving from the United States, Kevlar bodysuits for gang members coming directly from Miami. They describe guns and ammunition that get constantly reloaded in what is known as the Iron River from the U.S. All of this is coming from Miami. So ironically enough, Jason, between the U.S., the Dominican Republic, between the British who have their own islands that they govern in over in the Caribbean, they have altogether set up means to keep Haitians in Haiti, to prevent Haitians from being able to migrate, to leave the country, to come in, across any of our borders. We all witnessed what happened in the border of Del Rio, Texas, when agents on horseback and their crops were chasing Haitians like wild animals through the field. So we have this the sophistication to prevent Haitians themselves from being able to leave the island, but apparently have no means to interdict all of the vast weapons that, again, are not manufactured anywhere in the Caribbean from being able to leave U.S. ports in Miami down into Haiti during this extraordinarily volatile moment. It's a traumatic thing for them, but they are very, very, very clear about the origins of these weapons. In the U.S., we are very clear about the origins of these weapons, and more needs to be done by our Congress to provide the law enforcement resources to interdict that and stop that, because we are raining death on Haiti through our arms trade, while instead spending all of our resources to try to help people who are fleeing, to try to prevent people who are fleeing violence that we help to create from being able to get peace and safety in our shores. It is a hypocrisy that is stunning and alarming, and we all need to speak out about it.
We're going to take a short break. We come back, more on the crisis in Haiti. This is A Word with Jason Johnson. Stay tuned.
The next generation of influential Black voices can be found on NPR's new collection, Black Stories, Black Truths. Black Stories, Black Truths is a celebration of Blackness from NPR. Each of NPR's Black voices are as distinct, varied, and nuanced as the Black experience itself. In the Black Stories, Black Truths collection, you'll hear stories of joy, resilience, empowerment, and creating world-shifting things out of struggle. Every episode is a living account about what it means to be Black today, told from a unique Black perspective. From Bobby Shmurda to The Wire, Michelle Obama to reparations, there's no limit to the range of Black stories, Black truths. Black perspectives haven't always been centered in the telling of America's story. Now they are the story. Hear a feed of episodes from across NPR's podcasts that center Black voices. It's NPR Noir. Turn on NPR today and hear a range of voices as varied, nuanced, and Black as the country they reflect. Listen now to Black Stories, Black Truths from NPR, wherever you get your podcasts.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Do you have a point of sale system you can trust, or is it a real POS? You need Shopify for retail. From accepting payments to managing inventory, Shopify POS has everything you need to sell in person. Go to shopify.com/system, all lowercase, to take your retail business to the next level today. That's shopify.com/system.
This is Jason Johnson, host of A Word, Slate's podcast about race and politics and everything else. I want to take a moment to welcome our new listeners. If you've discovered A Word and like what you hear, please subscribe, rate, and review wherever you listen to podcasts. And let us know what you think by writing us at aword@slate.com. Thank you. You're listening to A Word with Jason Johnson. Today, we're talking about the state of the crisis in Haiti with Patrick Gaspard of the Center for American Progress. Let's talk a little bit about the latest international intervention. What's the level of forces that Kenya is providing to help stabilize Haiti? And are they even trained to deal with these kinds of problems there? Most people, if they think of international forces coming in, that Kenya is not usually the first place people think of.
I never thought, and anyone who knows anything about me, my public statements, my record as an activist, how I feel generally about interventions overseas, I never thought that I'd arrive at a moment where I would actually be calling for military intervention of any kind into Haiti. Right, that is something that I am just kind of like constitutionally resistant to. There's a history of interventions, including a U.S. Marine intervention in the 1930s that came to Haiti in a way that was corrupting of the politics and caused a tremendous amount of harm. And that legacy, unfortunately, continues to this day through the constitution that Haiti is governed under. So I have never been one to call for this. But as I've said, Haiti has devolved into a mafia state, and gangs run by that people like that character, Barbecue, that you mentioned. You know what? Let's not even use his nom de guerre. Let's call him, his name is Jimmy Cherezier. Calling him Barbecue kind of gives him this weird romanticized elevated status. He's just a criminal named Jimmy Cherezier. So individuals like that have taken over all the institutions and all the spaces of commerce in the capital of the country and beyond the capital. And we have to restore some stability, some peace, and an opportunity to create democratic pathways for the future of the country. So there is a need to increase the capacity of the Haitian police that has been radically depleted. There are only a few hundred police officers that remain on the force at this moment, and they are under fire. Some of their leadership has been compromised. And there's a need in the first instance to kind of push back and beat back some of these gangs. So the United Nations, at the request of the then de facto Prime Minister, President of Haiti, Ariel Henry, has approved of this key peacekeeping force. Kenya will be the point of the spear, so to speak, on this force. But I want to be very, very clear, Jason. There are no Kenyan troops on the ground right now in Haiti. There are assets that have been deployed into Haiti to receive those troops. There's equipment that's arrived in Haiti, but the Kenyan personnel have not yet arrived. The U.S. government has approved a $300 million investment to stand up the multinational security support mission and to reinstate some order in the country. Tranche of that, $40 million worth, has moved forward now. Your question about training is important. We all know that there have been instances in Kenya of rights abuses by those forces against their own population. So there is an investment that's being made to help them socialize in this environment. There's clarity that's being laid out by this transitional presidential council that will have a security leadership component to it that lays out exactly what the rules of engagement are. As you know, Kenya is an English-speaking African nation, not a Francophone nation. The Kenyans are going to be joined by French-speaking soldiers from Benin and a number of other nations to make sure they're able to establish a rapport with Haitian leadership and Haitian citizenry. There has to be clarity about some of the terms of reference for the Kenyan forces. The Kenyans themselves announced that they were coming to secure institutions in Haiti. They were not going to be involved in politics, and they don't intend to be engaged in street-level fighting with Haitian gangs. Getting some clarity on what is intended by the protection of institutions, getting clarity on what it means for the Kenyan soldiers, the Kenyan military multinational force, to partner with a reconstituted Haitian police force, and also understanding very clearly when this intervention is expected to come to an end, because Haiti has to move to elections. The Haitian constitution says that those elections should take place in November of the calendar year. So that would be November of 2025. We hope and expect that governance is in such a place that it's possible to do that. But you can't have elections in Haiti without some aspect of security. Every election in Haiti going back 20 years now has had some kind of multinational security force attending to it. So the transition from interim governance to permanent government will need to be accompanied by some kind of a force. And I suspect that the Kenyan footprint will continue through that period.
One of the things that always happens, I mean, it's every single sort of international intervention, you always have mission creep, right? It starts off, we're protecting the water plant, but then to protect the water plant, you get attacked, and then you got to shoot it out. You come there to protect the hospital. This sort of domestic gangster, Jimmy Chirazier, has said, go ahead, bring the Kenyans. They're going to get tired in a couple months. They're going to go home anyway. With all the gang situation on the ground, is there any reason to believe that Kenya may not have the capacity to handle this past a couple of months? That if there is a shootout in the street, that leadership in Kenya might be like, all right, you know what, this is getting bloody. We got to go home.
So here's the funny thing about the gangs, Jason. We call them gangs because they are gangs. They are not a standing army, right? So there's this assemblage of all the gangs right now that Jimmy Trezier is sitting on top of, but they are not a standing army. They're not a trained military force. What they are mostly very, very, very young men, many who are in their teens, who don't have pathways of opportunity in the economy of Haiti, who don't have formal training, who are no longer in school at all. And a lot of them are scared kids. We have seen in the last 3 months, Jason, that every single time the Haitian police is able to rally and marshal its forces and push back in communities like the Martissan community in Port-au-Prince, those teenagers, because they're teenagers, fall back quickly and abandon the spaces that they were holding. We believe, just as was the experience in 2004, the last time we had this kind of intervention in Haiti, we believe that the same will occur when an actual trained multilateral military presence is on the ground in Haiti. These are young kids. They are not looking to be in firefights with soldiers. It was easy enough for them to victimize a population that had no means of fighting back. It's an altogether different equation when you're talking about an actual army. So the gang leaders will huff and puff in this moment and just make all these pronouncements, but they will be the first ones who will be trying to negotiate amnesties, who will be looking for a way into legitimate political spaces. And we need to make sure that there's actually instead a space for transitional justice in the new government in Haiti that holds these gang leaders accountable, and that there are a set of investments that are being made beyond the military intervention that will create economic opportunity so that these scared young men are putting down their weapons and are instead getting opportunities in education and to work, whether it's textile plants or other opportunities that will exist.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more about the crisis in Haiti with Patrick Gaspard. This is A Word with Jason Johnson. Stay tuned.
Ah, the sizzle of McDonald's sausage. It's enough to make you crave your favorite breakfasts. Enough to head over to McDonald's. Enough to make you really wish this commercial were scratch and sniff.
And if you're a sausage person, now get 2 satisfyingly savory sausage McGriddles, sausage biscuits, or sausage burritos for just $3.33. Or mix and match. Price and participation may vary. Cannot be combined with any other offer or combo meal. Single item at regular price.
Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
I'm Jerusalem Demsis. I'm a writer at The Atlantic. And my beat, in many ways, is to challenge the conventional wisdom. I've written about how the problem with local democracy might just be too much voting, about how some environmental laws actually squash green energy development, and about how maybe the big demographic question of the day isn't overpopulation, but underpopulation. My new show is called Good on Paper. It questions what we really know about popular narratives with a new guest every Tuesday. Find and follow Good on Paper from The Atlantic, wherever you get your podcasts.
You're listening to A Word with Jason Johnson. Today, we're talking about the crisis in Haiti with Patrick Gaspard of the Center for American Progress. There's a substantial Haitian American population in the United States, including White House press secretary. How is the community here in the U.S. being mobilized? What are communities, large Haitian communities in D.C., in New York, in Baltimore? What are they doing? Are they rallying? Are they sending money? Are they just trying to raise awareness by calling their members of Congress? What's happening here?
Shout out to my sister, Corinne Jean-Pierre. So I'm glad that you mentioned Corinne as an example, because we are at a place, Jason, where there is a maturation that's occurred for Haitians who are in the diaspora, Haitians who are in America. We are now in positions where We are leading significant institutions where many of us have been elected into government, local government, federal government as well, leading key agencies. So we can not only give voice to a set of concerns, but we're in a position to be able to act. There is a broad, deeply connected set of networks, diaspora networks, in all the places where there's a density of our population, whether it's in Brooklyn or Miami or Boston, Chicago, in Atlanta, et cetera, et cetera. In all these places, we have come together in person or using the power of virtual connectivity to share intelligence, understand exactly what the circumstances are on the ground. And here's the key, because the diaspora in the past has not only acted in a diffuse manner, but I will say, as a member of the diaspora, has acted in an arrogant manner, in a way that has not listened closely to the leadership of Haitian civil society in Haiti itself. So diaspora in this moment not only has real agency, but is being humble about that agency, listening to some of the actors who created the Montana Accord in Haiti, listening to people who have been leaders of political parties in Haiti, feminists in Haiti, young activists who came together courageously to create something called the Petro-Carib Challenge to push back against corruption in government in Haiti, putting their own lives on the line. So we're deferring to them, we're listening to them, and taking up their advocacy in Washington, D.C. I am proud of people like J.P. Austin, who is a doctor in Florida, has had a history of helping to organize for Democrats in Florida as well. But in this moment, he has put all of his eggs in the basket of diaspora organizing, of 21st century advocacy that takes advantage of the elite access that some of us have to decision makers in the State Department, in the Pentagon, in the United Nations, in CARICOM, but also investing in local activism and organization as well, that puts at the fore questions that you've raised, Jason, about the contours of a multilateral security force, to make absolutely sure that the interest of the Haitian people themselves directing and informing those interventions, putting at the fore questions of economic governance through this interim period, how aid is being used and allocated and distributed, and also thinking very clearly about what it means to reform the Constitution in Haiti and to restore jurisprudence in the nation as well. There's an important outstanding question, Jason, as to whether or not the diaspora will have an opportunity to vote directly in the Haitian elections once those are finally organized. I'm a big advocate for that. We know many instances where diaspora are still able to be involved in Haitians in elections in their home countries. I think Haiti would benefit from that, particularly since we know there has been a massive brain drain in the last many years from Haiti of some of our best trained, most capable citizens who have been forced to go elsewhere for their safety and for economic opportunity.
What would you have the Biden administration do that they haven't done already? And do you think it's likely that they'll make any major moves to the benefit of Haiti, given that it's an election year?
So, Jason, I think anyone who follows me on social media knows that I don't hesitate to criticize my own leadership, my own political party leadership, and I've done so on Haiti. I will say in this moment, especially since I had the benefit of spending time with Secretary Blinken, who pulled away from the crisis in the Middle East to go to Jamaica to participate in the negotiations around the transition in Haiti, and who has personally invested his intellectual resources and the material resources of his department in this transition. At this moment, this administration is properly focused and engaged on these issues. I will give a particular commendation to a member of Congress, Congressman Gregory Meeks from New York, who is the ranking Democrat on foreign affairs, who has always kept Haiti at front and center, top of file. So right now, the United States is the single largest humanitarian donor to Haiti. On March 15th, USAID announced their intention to provide an additional $25 million, Jason, in humanitarian assistance. And this is building on additional funding directly from the State Department on humanitarian help, on food supplies as well. And it's also clear, based on the conversation that I was fortunate to have in the State Department just last week, that the U.S. is already intending to invest significant resources in standing up independent electoral council in Haiti through this period of transition. I will say the one space where I think we need more focus is on this question of the interdiction of these weapons that are flowing into Haiti. The Bureau of International Narcotics and Law Enforcement has allocated about $190 million to develop and professionalize leadership to counter gang violence. That's all well and good, but we need resources applied strategically to stop the flow of guns and ammunition from the United States, from Miami specifically, that is making it possible for the citizens of Haiti to be absolutely terrorized. So I want to see more investment there, more focus there, in addition to the humanitarian relief and in addition to the support for the international intervention.
Usually at the end of the show, I'll say, how can people help or how can people participate or be involved? But I want to ask you something different, Ambassador Gaspard. It was less than a year ago that you were on our show, On a Word, and we were talking about violence and unrest in Haiti. What is the one thing that's got to happen so that we're not having this same conversation in another year? What's the one thing, if you could wave a magic wand, that needs to happen so that we're not having this conversation a year from now?
There are things that some of us are doing to create transitions in Haiti to disempower bad political actors, but we cannot save Haiti from this level of violence and the violence that you and I discussed a year ago if there isn't aggressive work that's taken on in the U.S. and a kind of ownership over the fact that we are literally arming death dealers to the teeth with the means to eradicate the population. If we don't do that, then you and I will absolutely be having the same conversation again. So we have to have targeted sanctions against political actors who are sitting on top of the gangs, but then we have to stop the flow of weapons to them. And not a single one of these weapons is produced in Haiti, and we have the means to stop that flow in the U.S. The question is, do we have the political will to hold ourselves accountable on this river of death that we're transporting to this nation?
Patrick Gaspard is the former U.S. ambassador to South Africa and the president and CEO of the Center for American Progress. Thank you so much for joining us today on A Word.
Thank you, Jason.
And that's A Word for this week. The show's email is aword@slate.com. This episode was produced by Kristie Taiwo-Makanjuola. Ben Richmond is Slate's Senior Director of Podcast Operations. Alicia Montgomery is the Vice President of Slate Audio. Our theme music was produced by Don Will. I'm Jason Johnson. Tune in next week for A Word.